came from Bandcamp. It came from Bandcamp. Anybody can upload anything they want to Bandcamp. It came from Bandcamp.
Anthony Skirtano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for one of my favorite segments on this channel, It Came from Bandcamp, where I file through and recommend a series of projects self-uploaded onto the Bandcamp platform that I think are worth your attention. I also like these projects to be particularly weird, so expect some oddities over here in this episode of the show like usual. And down there in the description box you can check out a playlist of previous episodes if you would like to be recommended more Bandcamp oddities. We're going to kick this one off with an album I could only call interesting. Gabriel Gundacker's I Want to Meet Richard Dreyfuss. Now this album is not metaphor. Richard Dreyfuss is not a symbol for humanity's longing for the answers to life's toughest questions. This album is literally about wanting to meet actor, writer, Richard Dreyfuss, with lots of references to his personal life, to his movies. There's actually a moment where he meets Richard Dreyfuss at what seems like some kind of, forum, and he gets to ask him a question, and he sort of confronts him in a way, and he says, "I'm the guy who's been, trying to meet you and writing all those songs." And Richard seems, pretty cool, calm, and collected. For sure, he might have been weirded out a little bit, but it was interesting to hear this meeting caught on the album itself. I mean, it really adds a lot to the concept of it. And I'm not really sure what else to say about this thing other than that. I mean, I find the album funny. I think the concept is pretty unique. I like that there's a real-world element to what this album is trying to accomplish. I think the lyrics are witty, and I think a lot of the hooks pop pretty well, too. So there are moments when I'm listening to this, I'm unironically enjoying it. It's not just simply a comedy record or some album where he's clearly putting it together to fuck with people, like he's trolling people, he's trolling Richard Dreyfuss. He's genuinely trying to write some good tunes on this record. So if you want to hear something with kind of a strange quirk mentally to it, a weird tick, but it's well written, roughly recorded, give this thing a shot. Moving on, we have Zeal and Ardor's The Devil Is Fine. This, I believe, is listed as black spiritual metal, and there's some weird electronic bits woven into the track listing here. However, that's not really what grabbed my attention about this music. As you may have already guessed from that previous label or description of this music, there is black metal in this music, of course. But what kind of makes this black metal so weird is that it has American spiritual music in it too. We're talking American slave spirituals. You could, I guess, call it blackened black gospel. I have never heard such a thing, and again, while I do think the production is really messy to the point where I think it ruins the songs a little bit, I do admire the very ambitious meld of sounds that this project is trying to bring together. Might be a little more entertaining with a better recording down the road, but again, this idea was so novel and it was so interesting that it made me want to recommend this here, just for you guys to give it a shot, because it is pretty odd. This next project has some communist undertones to it. A lot of you guys who are familiar with Vaporwave and keep tabs on that community might be conscious of a new up-and-coming trend within the Vaporwave world called hard vapor, which even after hearing a handful of different hard vapor releases, I'm not really sure what it is. I mean, it seems to have a lot of the same characteristics of Vaporwave, but maybe it's a little more aggressive. This project over here is labeled as hard vapor. I mean, the HVRF Bandcamp that this project comes from, the acronym stands for Hard Vapor Resistance Front. And this album over here is one long 22-minute piece, which to me reads like, I don't know, music that would be in like a Metal Gear Solid game, and you're sneaking into a compound and you're gonna take out some guys, of course, quietly. And of course, since this project is vaporwave related, it has to have a really huge convoluted concept behind it. And there's an amazing paragraph in the description of this album, which I'm going to read to you as a clip of this music plays in the background. Thousands of soldiers and hundreds of Russian tanks roll from previously annexed Crimea region into the Ukrainian capital after years of bloody conflicts, and criticism of Russian return to Sovietism from Western media come to boiling point. Putin consistently likened to second coming of Joseph Stalin. President Trump remains neutral for now, to dismay of outgoing Ukrainian leaders who are imprisoned by Russian authorities for war crimes against Russia. Trump ignores heavy calls from politicians and media in his own country to declare Putin's actions as an act of war and not self-defense. Putin declares Ukraine as part of new Russian alliance, but still independent state. A statement laughed at by Western press with heavy skepticism and criticism, who declares the event as the new Soviet uprising. Gah! So, have fun with your communist hard vapor. This next album is from an experimental rock duo known as Famous Breathers. The album is Mosquito Buzzers. And this was a pretty odd, freakish project. Liked a lot about this thing. This project actually even has a Glenn Branca ensemble credit. And some of the music here reminded me of not only some very harsh noise rock, I mean, if you're into half Japanese, I think you'll be into some of what's here, but also maybe a touch of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, a little bit of The Residents as well. And some of these songs are pretty dynamic as well. I mean, these two things happen in the same track, like this. And then we have this.
Look at it. Absorb the color. Feel the need.
So it is a pretty strange little album. Going to recommend this to anybody who likes their rock weird and completely wigged out. This next one is an oldie. It's been around a little while, but it's a goodie. It's from my dude Snack Pack. And this project is called Dog Heaven. And it's like this little bedroom synth pop, electronic, and / rap album about dogs. About how he loves dogs, about how great dogs are. And I just need more dog albums in my life because dogs are better than cats. Sorry. However, the album is not consistently about dogs. There's the song Live Life, which is kind of this spoken word motivational piece. And there's also a track on here about Bob Ross, where I think he wants Bob Ross to be his uncle. You know, maybe only stick around for those if you really like the rest of the project or if you just really want to hear a song about Bob Ross. But primarily you should be there for the dog songs. If you want to hear some cute, fun little dog songs, then check this thing out. And finally, we're going to end off with the new G.L.O.S.S EP. G.L.O.S S, if you don't know, they're a hardcore punk outfit from the West Coast. The band's name is an acronym for Girls Living Outside Society Shit, and the EP here is titled Trans Day of Revenge, which came not too long after that Orlando shooting a few weeks ago, so it's very aptly timed in a sense. The band is just unapologetically focused on LGBT issues, and some of the lyrics on this EP, like with their previous demo, are blatantly violent. I mean, in a way, this EP is a battle cry for the community of people that they are trying to speak for in this music. And I think we are going to leave it at that. Those are the Bandcamp releases that I would love to recommend to you guys in this episode of It Came From Bandcamp. Of course, all of them are linked down there in the description box. You can not only stream all of their music on Bandcamp, but I'm sure if you purchase the music directly from these artists on Bandcamp, you're supporting them as well. So, you know, support local music, support underground music, and most importantly, support weird music too. Support these artists who are putting in every bit as much effort as your favorite artist signed to a major label. Because America, because money, because transition. Have you given these albums a listen? I hope you have. You know, again, they're all linked down there in the description box. Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry if you happen to dislike any of these band camps that I have recommended to you guys. And of course, once again, down there in the description box, you can check out more episodes of this show. We are turning you guys onto more strange, underground, unsigned artists every month with this series. You guys ask me on a regular basis, hey, show me some artists that are obscure, review some artists that are unsigned, blah, 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 blah. I'm bringing them straight to you guys on this series, so if you care about that shit, then check this series out because that's what it's about. Okay? Okay. Have a nice day. Forever.